19 S&P 500. Matt Atchity from Rotten Tomatoes is here talking about this week's new movie releases, and there are a lot to talk about.
Can I ask you about a movie that is not being released yet, and you probably can't say if you've seen it or not.
Okay.
But the sales for tickets are crazy. It's breaking all sorts of records.
Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Hunger Games. I'm excited about Hunger Games.
Have you? I know you're not.
You can't talk about it, though, right?
I can't talk about anything. We don't have any reviews up yet.
Oh, because we all signed an embargo.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah,
Me? I didn't.
Exactly. Right?
I know nothing.
I'm very excited, though. I will tell you, what I can tell you is that there are a lot of screenings happening. There's a lot of fan screenings that'll be happening. I don't remember exactly what the date, but if you go to their site, their word is getting out about some early screenings, and that's kind of a good sign because that means the studio thinks they can get the buzz up.
Yeah.
And typically, if they've got something that's going to be bad, they will hide it to the last minute. So. That's the best I can say.
Normally, when you are not allowed to talk about a movie, it's because the movie is not good, and that might not be the case in this case you're saying.
Sometimes they do that. Sometimes the studios will do that with really big franchises that they don't want anyone getting spoilers out there. They don't want too much of the wrong information.
They do it with horror movies,
They do it with horror movies, but, you know, things like The Avengers, they might do that with, or Dark Knight Rises. We might see that same kind of thing.
Does Disney basically have a horror movie on their hands?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Are we talking about John Carter?
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Well, it cost a fortune.
It did cost a fortune. I really like John Carter, but only about half the critics do, which is really unfortunate. It's about 46% on the tomato meter. Now, a lot of people, I think there's a problem with the marketing. There's not a lot of excitement about this film. They don't know what it's about. It's based on the Edgar Rice Burroughs story about a Civil War vet who kind of is prospecting and ends up on Mars. And that's it. He ends up in this kind of warfare with the native tribes.
Which doesn't seem to make much sense.
It doesn't seem to make much sense. It's a classic pulp story, but I think the promotional materials haven't done a good job of conveying that.
Because you know what I don't get? I mean, this is right up my son's alley. And he has no interest.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. What I will say is there's a fan-made trailer out there that's fantastic, that really gets you excited about it. In fact, there's a card in the middle of the trailer that says, based on the story that inspired 100 years of filmmaking. And you watch this fan trailer and you think, ooh,
and you really liked it.
I liked it. It's got some problems. It kind of slows down in the middle. It suffers from one of the same problems that I think the Star Wars prequels do, which is that it gets a little too talky about the politics of that world, and you start feeling like, can we just get back to the aliens fighting?
A problem for Disney is that it spent $250 billion, $250 million making this, so $250 million. Maybe more.
Yeah, maybe. I hope it does okay. I mean, it's Andrew Stanton, who is a director from Pixar. He's done some of Pixar's best movies. Yeah. I don't think it's a disaster of a film, but I think it could have been better. I'm worried about how it's going to do this weekend.
All right, and now on to a movie that this does not happen very often.
A zero.
A zero. Yeah,
When was the last time that happened on Rotten Tomatoes?
When you get a lot of reviews, it's hard to maintain the perfect zero. But we've got a zero with something like 20 reviews so far. This is 1,000 Words, the new Eddie Murphy movie. Now, this movie's been in the can for 2 or 3 years.
Never a good sign.
Right. I think it wasn't going to get released. I think the only reason this got released because Eddie Murphy was supposed to host the Oscars. And I think that at that point, things had been set in motion to get this movie out this weekend.
And I just read some article, is Eddie Murphy's career dead? Of course not.
Of course not.
And he was ready for a big comeback.
Yeah. But unfortunately, he didn't do the Oscars. This movie is not going to... I don't think this is going to hurt him terribly. I think that Eddie Murphy is still a big enough star that he can kind of do whatever he wants. I will say this. I will call out right now how awesome it would be if he did another stand-up movie. Right? I mean, it's time for another one.
Well, and very quickly, we're pretty much out of time, but Friends with Kids is the only one really that got positive reviews.
65%, written, directed, and starring by Jennifer Westfeld.
Yeah, she was here this week. She's lovely.
It's a fun movie. It's pretty good. Also stars Kristen Wiig, Maya Rudolph,
her boyfriend, John Hamm.
It's definitely worth seeing.
And by the way, Matt is on his way over to the newsroom. He'll be doing a Google Plus hangout with Maria Fulban. Thanks for joining us. We always love it when you come.
I always love coming here.
That's the bonus of being here. You get to hang with Maria.
Exactly.
Thanks, Matt. Coming up, we're going to check in with Chris Wallace, and next, Sugar Ray Leonard is here as Good Day LA continues.
That's an interview you actually get to do, Tony.
Oh, I get to say hello to Sugar Ray Leonard.
I think not Simon Cowell.
I might have to stick around.